Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, which is Yevamos Nun Ches. We begin 2 lines from the bottom on Nun Zayin Amud Beis. Amar Rami Bar Chama, we discussed the concept of chuppah l'psulos. So in yesterday's Daf, we actually had a machlokes. Rav says, Yesh chuppah l'psulos. Shmuel says, no, ain't chuppah l'psulos. What does that mean? So you have an almana trying to marry a kohen gadol, which of course is asur. He got to the point of chuppah. He was misyachad with her, he brought her into his home, but it's still pre-bia. They haven't yet been together physically, in which case, technically, she isn't necessarily a chalala. Right? Still, says Rav, she is tainted. She is affected by the chuppah, which is really the phase leading into physical closeness. It leads into bia, in which case we treat her as though she was affected, tainted, and is now unable to have teruma, whether it's a bas kohen, she's from a family of kohanim, she must stop eating teruma, or whether it's just the fact that she can't have the teruma with her husband because she may not marry this man. Yesh chuppah l'psulos. Shmuel says, no, nothing doing. Chuppah is meant to lead into bia. That's only by a proper marriage. Here it's not meant to do so. Chuppah is totally out of place and a non-functioning entity. It doesn't have any value. It doesn't have any impact. It does not affect her. Amar Rami Bar Chama, actually, this is a machlokes tanoim. Yesh chuppah l'psulos. This question is a machlokes bono l'machlokes Rabbi Meir, between Rabbi Meir, back in the Mishnah, on Daf Nun Vavam Beis, Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Shimon. Machlokes between these tanoim. You see, we had a Mishnah which discussed a similar case, not chuppah, kiddushin. Almana, who had kiddushin with a kohen gadol, a grusha, kiddushin with a kohen headed. What happens there? Rabbi Meir says, stop eating truma. You are anticipating interacting in a puzzle situation, in an inappropriate relationship. That affects her. Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Shimon say no. At this early point, it's still premature to make her a puzzle. It's still pre-marriage. She's unaffected. Says the Gemara, it would appear that discussion parallels our discussion. The Rab Meir, the Amar Kiddushin Pasli, just as Rab Meir says Kiddushin affects the Isha. If you're miskadish to a person you may not marry, you have to stop eating truma. Chuppah nami Pasli, here as well by chuppah has the same effect. Even though we're speaking that there was no Kiddushin here, just plain chuppah. Well, chuppah is close enough to marriage. That's an initiation of that relationship, and therefore it affects her as well. Whereas Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Shimon, the Amri Kiddushin lo yipasli, according to them, Kiddushin doesn't affect her. Chuppah nami lo yipasli, here as well by chuppah, it won't have that effect. How do you know to compare Fri May? Two different contexts. Rabbi Meir Hassam, maybe it's only over there. The Rabbi Meir holds the Kiddushin affects her because it's a Kiddushin, it's a Kinyan. Elaba Kiddushin de Kanila, he acquired her. Almana did Kiddushin with a Kohen Gadol, that's a problem. But by chuppah the loy kanila, there was no kinyan loy, maybe it doesn't affect her. Inami, or you can say ad kan loy ka'ami Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Shimon Hassam. It's only in that case. Rabbi Lezer says it's okay. Elaba Kiddushin, because it's only Kiddushin. It's sort of very early in the game. The loy krivi labia, it's not leading into bia, so she remains unaffected. Aval chuppah the kriva labia, but chuppah, that's so close to the real. Perhaps that can affect the Isha, Chinami de Pasla. So the two discussions are unrelated. Totally unrelated. Kiddushin can have an advantage that Bia doesn't have, and Chuppah doesn't have, and Chuppah has an element not present in Kiddushin, so you can't compare two things. Elo, Meimar. But if you're looking for a machlokes tanoim to attach to this Shaila, let's find another set of Tanaim discussing this very case. chuppah lipsulos, the sanya, nisu. If they marry a kohen, zu v'zu, whether it's these or these, meaning ksheros, whether they're allowed to marry the kohen, upsulos, or whether they're not allowed to marry the kohen. Oy or shenichnasu l'chuppah v'lo nivalu. There was chuppah without physical interaction. Oy chayis mishaloi, they can have his food. V'oy chayis b'truma, they can have his truma. Let's analyze the brayso. Nichnasu, discussed in the last part of the brayso. Only chuppah without more. So what does nisu mean? Nisu mentioned the line earlier. Actual marriage, right? If you say nichnasu is just an incomplete connection, mechlal de nisu, apparently the word nisu means nisu mamash, actual marriage. How can you say that? Once she interacts with him as married. Abi Psula, of course, makes her puzzle. She's a halala, she can't eat truma. Helalav, oh, so must mean something else. Elalav kigoy shenichnasu lechuppah v'lo nivalu. The brayso just means like this. It's one case. Nisu, meaning, the brayso explains itself. Nisu means nichnasu lechuppah without bila. So it's all just one case. The brayso is sort of explaining itself. Rashi says, we use the word nisu, and then, okay, what is that case? Then, kigoyin, there was a chuppah without more. Clearly, chuppah doesn't do anything to her. She's still allowed to have truma. And the brayso says, even in the case of pisulos, where she's not meant to marry him, the fact that she experienced chuppah with him doesn't affect her. That's the Tanna Kama. Comes Rabbi Shmuel ben Noishal Brechem Broika Aymar, and he says, no, she's affected. Kol shabi asam achilasa, chupasam achilasa. If bia can feed her, and the chuppah can feed her. V'chol she'ein biasam achilasa, ein chupasam achilasa. But if it's an inappropriate relationship, in which case the bia would not allow it to have truma, likewise the chuppah has the same effect. Makes her possible. Clearly, it would seem it's a machlekes tanaim. What effect does chuppah have on the isha if it's in the case of pesulos? Mimai, how do you know to compare? How do you know that's the pshat? Dilma Rabbi Yishmael b'noi shal Rabbi Yechim Broika ki Rabbi Meir svirla. You know what? Maybe we're speaking that he did kiddushin as well, and Rabbi Yishmael follows shitas Rabbi Meir the Amar mi kiddushin lo yachal from the point of kiddushin onward, as long as he's kind of the isha. Once he acquires her, she's possible from truma, unrelated to the chuppah. So maybe that's why Rabbi Shmuel says she can't have a truma. That's not a chuppah discussion. This discussion pertains back to the scenario discussed back in the Mishnah Daf Nun Vav. Kiddushin. How would it affect her? But chuppah perhaps has no effect. Says the Gemara, 1 second, but then the lashon is a bit off. Hi. So why does Rabbi Shmuel say kol she'ein bi'asam achilasa? If bia can't do it, ein chupasam achilasa, chuppah as well. I'm not speaking about chuppah. I thought we were speaking about a kiddushin that happened. Kol she'ein bi'asam achilasa, a relationship in which case the bia would disqualify her. Ein kaspam achilasa mibayli. He should have said that. If the bia disqualifies, then the money, meaning the kiddushin, disqualifies. If the reason for disqualification here is attributed to the kiddushin, right? So why does he mention chuppah? He should refer to kiddushin. You're right. Maybe that's all he's saying, but he's just using parallel language to the Tanna Kama. Tanna Kama discussed chuppah, so he discusses chuppah. But of course, we're speaking that there was kiddushin done as well, and that's exactly why she becomes possible, unrelated to the chuppah. Dilma, maybe I did the Kama Tanna Kama chuppah on account of Tanna Kama referring to chuppah, because that's the chiddush of Tanna Kama. That even the chuppah itself is problematic. Omar. Even with the chuppah, is she still okay? Amar iunami chuppah here as well. He as well mentions chuppah, but of course, the basis for her disqualification is not related to chuppah, rather because there was a kiddushin. And as we mentioned earlier, kiddushin and chuppah, two separate creatures. Kiddushin is a kinyan, it's an acquisition. Maybe that, of course, affects her if it was done in anticipation of an inappropriate relationship. So at this point, we haven't yet discovered a machlekes tanoim pertaining strictly to this question of how does a chuppah lipsulois affect the isha. Amar Amram, her milsa, the following thing, Amalan Rav Sheshes, was told to us by Rav Sheshes, Vanerinu la'ainin mimasnisin, and he actually showed it to us in a Mishnah. He supported it from a Mishnah. What was the halacha that he told us? Yesh chuppah lipsulois. In a psulois situation, chuppah will affect the isha. And he has a right from a Mishnah. A Mishnah is Soita. V'tana. And this was taught tuna by our Tana, meaning here comes our Mishnah, which says, Amen shaloi satisi arusa v'nasua. We know what that the isha who strays from her husband, she's a soita, she must drink the May soita. So first he warns her, that's kinoi, then she goes into hiding with this fellow at stira, and then she has to go to the Beis HaMikdash and have her May soita. The Kohen imposes a shvua, a curse, and she responds by acknowledging with the words Amen, Amen. She accepts the warning and the curse and the shvua. Why Amen, Amen? Why repeat? It's a double reference, referring to all types of scenarios. Amen shaloi satisi arusa. I acknowledge that I haven't strayed when I was in arusa, when I was just engaged to this man. Unisua. Likewise after marriage. Shemeres Yavam Uknusa, suppose she was a Yevamos, so she's saying, look, I haven't deviated when I was in the state of Shemeres Yavam prior to Yibum, and Knusa after Yibum as well. End quote. That's the Mishnah. Let's analyze the Mishnah. Hay Arusa Yechidami. I haven't strayed when I was in Arusa. Under what circumstance? Well, what type of situation are we speaking about? Yechidami. Ilem edakani lakashi Arusa. Are we speaking that he warned her? He did kinu when she was still engaged. And he's trying to give her that water now. As an arusa, that doesn't work. Arusa bas mishtayahi, since when can arusa be given that water? But tanan arusa ushmeres yavam loishoises. But loinedlis ksuva. You have to be married. Pasuk says tachas ishech. You have to be married. Only a man and woman in a married state can feed each other, can bring each other to the mei soita. Arusa or Shemeres Yavam will never drink Mei Soita, although she may lose her ksuva because she brought it about, she antagonized him, she made herself usher. But there's no shoisais, so that can't be the case. Elo de kane lo k'shi arusa. He did kinoi when she was in arusa, v'istatra, and then she acted inappropriately with that strange man. She went into hiding with him, and then he got married with her. Her husband married her. Now he decides, you know what, I want to bring her to the Beis HaMikdash and give her the Mei Soita. That doesn't work either. Mi batkila maya. At that point, is the water going to verify the situation? Is it going to be effective? Of course not. Because now her husband is guilty of interacting with her inappropriately. Once she went into hiding, she becomes usher on her husband until further, verification. And Allah is when he's guilty of doing a similar offense as the other fellow was doing, the water becomes obsolete and ineffective. Vatani, the Brisa says, "V'nika ha'ishme oven." If the water affects his wife, the man shouldn't feel bad. The man is cleansed of any wrongdoing. It's not his fault. And we learn from here only if he's really clean, if he has a clean record. Bizman sha'ish menuka me'oven. When her husband is free of any sin, then hamayim boitkinis ishte, water can affect his wife. Eina ish menuka me'oven. But if the man is guilty, just as guilty as the other fellow, he also engaged with her as married when he wasn't allowed to. Eina hamayim boitkinis ishte. In that case, water is totally ineffective. There's no point of giving her the meis soit. So this case doesn't work. Ella, rather, we're left with one final option. Apparently, we're speaking the Kanela Kashi Arusa. He did kinoi when she was in Arusa. Fine. V'yistatra, she went into hiding. And now, v'nichnas ala chuppah. Her husband proceeded with chuppah, but that's it. He didn't go further than that. So now all factors fall into place. Remember, we need 3 conditions for it to be an effective, valid process. Actually, we didn't discuss the third one. So far we had 2. Tachas ishech, she has to be a married woman. And number two, husband has to be free of any avera. So here he was free because he hadn't yet interacted with her as married after she went into hiding, so he's okay, he's safe with that. But where is Tachas Ishech? They're not yet married. The answer is they did chuppah. It's clearly, we see from here that chuppah done with a psula, such as in this case, she is not allowed to interact with him as married going further until they investigate this matter. Still, it would seem that the chuppah is an effective initiation of the marriage process, and from now on it's considered tachas ishech, and the mayim can be given to this isha. That's right. The yesh chuppah lepsulas. That beautiful, right? Even though there's no marriage awaiting, they can't marry at this point. The fact that they did chuppah is so close to marriage. It designates her. It's miyached her. It's the bia phase that is considered as tantamount, synonymous to bia, and it's considered tachas ishech. Rava, 1 second. V'tisbra. How can you think that this brisa is authoritative, is reliable? V'tisbra daham metartisahi, and you're going to bring a right from here. There's a problem with the whole halacha here. Why? Rabbi Achabar Chanina. When he came, the Rema from the south of Israel, also he came and presented us with a brisa based on the pasuk which says, "Mi baladei ishech." Look, you strayed from your husband, you got involved with a stranger, not your husband, aside from your husband. And we learn from here that this stranger is coming after she's already interacted with her husband as married. His interaction has to precede that stranger's interference. Only if the Baal came first, before the Bayal, the fellow who committed znus with his Isha. As opposed to when the Bayal came in first. So we have a third condition here. A, she has to be married, tachas ishech. B, husband has to be free of any sin, meaning he can't interact with her as married after she got involved with this stranger. Okay, that we covered. But the third aspect we haven't yet addressed, which is his interaction with her. The Baal's interaction with his wife as married has to precede the Boyal, the stranger. You don't have that in this case. Why? All he did was chuppah. Now we're stuck. No, I'll give you the case. This fellow who engaged her, was Mekadesher, he interacted with her as married when she was still home, in her father's home. L'shem znus, right? Now, eventually they did chuppah, and they stopped right there. So now everything clicks into place. You have all three conditions met. Husband was first. Tachas ishech, she's married. The chuppah accomplishes that, as we proved. Yesh chuppah lepsulos. Despite the fact that she can't really continue living with him as married, yesh chuppah lepsulos. It carries weight, it has value. It's considered tachas ishech. And thirdly, husband is free of any sin, meaning relative to the stranger, meaning he didn't do the same, he commit the same sin as that stranger, meaning he didn't continue living with her as married after she was involved with that stranger. That's all we need, although there was something inappropriate before, but that's not part of the equation here. So we have all three conditions met. And we have our raya. We supported our contention that yesh chuppah lepsulos. Okay, so far so good. One problem is, the Mishnah also mentioned, aside from Arusa, also mentioned Shemeres Yavam Uknusa. Amen is, in the case of a Yibum, is referring to pre-Yibum and post-Yibum. I was clean, I was free, I acted appropriately all throughout that, time period. And we're assuming that, the situations sort of match each other. Arusa Nasur, Shemeres Yavam Uknusa. The Kavasog of Shemeres Yavam. In similar fashion, in parallel fashion, by the Shemeres Yavam. How does it play out? How do we meet all three conditions? Sheba alel yavam beis chamia. So again, it must be that there was some sort of physical interaction between Yavam and Yevama prior to her getting involved with this fellow, right? That's the condition we spoke about. So that happened when she was still Bebeis Chamia, which means before she had the Yibum done to her. We call it Beis Chamia, the house of her father-in-law. Basically, it means after her husband's passing, she was involved in znus with this Yavam. So he came first. He came before the stranger with whom she went into hiding. Okay, so you have all three conditions met. She's been involved with him first, right? With the future Yavam, he was first, and then she got involved with this other fellow, and now the Yavam takes her and does chuppah with her, and no more, stops right there. So now he's not guilty of any further sinning with her, and now he wants to do the Saita procedure. Right? That's apparently going to be the case. 1 second. Shemeres Yavam Karisla. How do you refer to this Isha as a Shemeres Yavam? Which would indicate that she's still a Yevama, she still has Zika because of her husband's passing. What do you mean? Ishtei Ma'alihi? Once her future Yavam interacts with her as married, even prior to proper Yivam, what was the Shem's Nus? She becomes his wife. Why? Let's remember the Gemara we learned a couple of days ago. Any interaction with the Yevama, even b'mezid, what does b'mezid mean? Rashi said in the Mishnah means L'Shem's Nus. It accomplishes kinyan. She becomes his wife. That's it. Show's over. She's no longer a Yevama. Da'amar Rav tells us kana la'koil. Even a bias nus accomplishes a full-fledged kinyan. She's his wife. Says okay, Shmuel. Okay, we're following Shmuel. Da'amar lo'ikana. Ela l'dvarim ha'amurim b'parsha. This type of bia does not accomplish a full kinyan. Doesn't make her his wife. It only activates certain elements, Yibum-related elements discussed in the Parshas Yibum, Yerusha, etc. She's still a Shemeres Yavam. She still has Zika even after biasness. What do you mean? Midihu Taimel Rav. What are we trying to do here? Let's remember. We had a Machlekes Rav and Shmuel. Rav says even in a psulois situation, chuppah is effective, and that's what we're trying to support here from this Mishnah. So we're going to Rav. You can't bring Shmuel into the fray. Midi hu taimel Rav. We're trying to bring a right to Rav the yesh chuppah l'psulis. Rav kana l'koil, and Rav himself holds that a bias znus accomplishes full kinyan. She's no longer shemeres yavam. So that option is out. Hachab my skin must be speaking as follows. Going to avad ba ma'amar. Her future yavam did ma'amar to the yavama. Following Beishamai, the Amri, Mamar Koine Kinyan Gomer. Mamar is a full-fledged Kinyan. In fact, some Rishonim learn it's Minat Torah. He does Kedushin with the Yevama, she's his wife. In which case, the halachos apply to a typical Shemeres Yavam. It doesn't apply by her. So Bias Mezid only works by a regular Yevama, unaffected by Mamar. Once he does Mamar, sort of a Kedushin, Bias Znus will not accomplish proper Kinyan. She is now treated like a regular Isha, she needs Chuppah, she needs Nisuan, regular process, due process. And that's why she's called a Shemeres Yavam. Because she's not really fully married yet. Despite the fact that there was a bia, it was a bias nus. Done with a Yevama after Mamar. It doesn't count. She's no longer a regular Yevama. She had her Kedushin. She needs a regular type of bia, regular type of chuppah to be kind to her completely. What do you mean? If that's the case, then she's a regular Arusa. She's engaged to you. Why are we calling her a Shemeres Yavam? Right? Either way, we're stuck. Are we dealing with her like a Yevama, then any type of bia makes her full-fledged Kinyan. She's no longer Shemeres Yavam. Elamai was speaking that something happened, something went awry. We switched tracks. We did a mamar, which changes her status from sort of Yevama to regular wife. In that case, then she's a regular arusa. She's engaged to you. And the Mishnah already discussed arusa. Why repeat the din of arusa twice? What about those two cases? A married woman and a married woman. Whether it's regular marriage or through yibum. Isn't it the same concept? Lav chada milsi. Isn't it all the same? Ela naso didei. There's a nuance here, just a slight difference in of how they got there. Naso means his own wife, and knusa means the chavrei by way of his brother. Okay, but at the end of the day, they're at the same point. So the Mishnah is just citing two variations of the same type of status. Hachanavi here as well. When we speak about pre-marriage states, we have two variations: arusa, an engaged woman, arusa the day, his own personal arusa, v'shemer siyavam the chavrei by way of his brother. But you're right, technically, it's all one and the same. Arusa and shemer siyavam, the way we interpreted shemer siyavam, which happened after ma, it's basically the same idea. She's a woman engaged to you through kinyan, and just like nesua and knusa, really one and the same, just two ways of having gone there. So the bottom line is, according to this Gemara, we have a right to Rav Yesh chupel psules. That's the only way we can interpret the Mishnah, that it should work. Because remember, we need three conditions met to enable the hashgoas soita: tachas ishech, v'nika ish mi'avain, and kodmo shchivas habal. And the Mishnah clearly speaks about the amein, that the isha is referring to the arusa nesua state and shemeras yavam knusa state. How can there be hashgoas soita referring to the pre-marriage state, arusa state? There's only one way. There was nus, then there was chuppah. There was nus, which makes husband go first. There was the kinei v'stira, and then there was chuppah, which creates tachas ishech, but no more than that. So the husband is now free of any sin going forward. He didn't do anything wrong right now. But why is it tachas ishech? Why do we treat her as married? Apparently, chuppah done to this type of isha, an isha who cannot proceed further. She's puzzled him. She may not continue with him until she verifies her situation. Chuppah in this case is effective. It's considered like a kinyan, like marriage. Yesh chuppah l'psulis, it's a right to Rav. Says the Gemara, not so fast. Rav Papa Amar, no. I'm going to suggest another pshat in this Mishnah, which doesn't necessarily conform to your arrangement and doesn't necessarily bring a right to Rav. Forget about chuppah. There was no chuppah done. It was proper marriage. Rav Papa Amar Haitanu, who following another Tana, who holds that even if the husband is guilty of sinning, the water will still be effective. So there was an actual marriage and a bia. They lived together. Now he wants to treat her with the May Soita. It works. Skip the chuppah. There was a real marriage. So although he wasn't meant to marry her, all right, it's his problem. But it won't affect the efficacy of the May Soita. Haitanu, the Sanya Einman Kanan La Rusa La Shkoisa Kashi Arusa. One doesn't have the ability to warn, to do Kidi Vestira to an Arusa and follow through with the Meisoita at that point, because it needs to be married, Tachas Ishech. Aval Mekanan La Mekanan Oisa La Shkoisa Kashi Nesua. But if he does a kinoi when she's still arusa, and then he marries her, and then again he did kinoi when she was an arusa, and then she went into hiding with this fellow, right? It was kinoi and stira, and then he decides to marry. The husband decides to proceed with marriage, lives with her as married, which is obviously inappropriate. He's not allowed to until he verifies the situation. Still, it doesn't take away from the koyach of the meisoit. He can go ahead and give her the water. So skip chuppah. There was no. We're not stuck at chuppah. He did the actual marriage with bia. That's one pshat in the Mishnah. In which case, it's unrelated to our discussion of chuppah l'psules. Rav Nachman, it's like Amar. Here's another pshat that there was no kini or stira at all when she was still in the arusa state. What happened was she was already married. and she behaved inappropriately after marriage, he did kinei v'stira now. Rav Nachman Yitzchak Amar, I did Gilgul. Something called Gilgul Shvua. It sort of brings along, once you're allowed to impose a shvua for a specific thing, you can incriminate her for a specific thing, you can sort of bring along other things as well, pile it up, add to it. So although he doesn't have the ability to do the hashkah process pertaining to something that occurred when she was in her pre-married state, when she was in Arusa, but once he's initiating the process on account of something that occurred later on during her married state, he can already bring along the other ones, add the other documents to the file, and make reference to things that she may have done when she was in her pre-marriage state, in which case the water will actually address that as well. So bottom line is, this woman is fully married. And she did something wrong after marriage. When the Mishnah speaks about adding the events that occurred when she was in Arusa, it means Alidei Gilgul, by way of adding it, attaching it to what's happening now after marriage. So bottom line is, according to Rav Papa Arav Nachman Yitzchak, there is no longer a raya from this Mishnah pertaining to our shaila of chuppah l'psula. We're not speaking about whether it was just chuppah. There was a proper marriage done. So there's no raya to Rav. Whereas according to the first pshat, there was a raya to Rav because we were speaking about a chuppah done to a psula. Continues the Gemara. Here comes an interesting shaila. Shalach Rav Chanina mishmed Rabbi Yehuda. He asked a shah. He sent a halacha, the name of Rabbi Yehuda. Ha'isa mamar b'yivimtoi. V'yesh le'ach. A Yevamos was noifel le'yibam. There were two brothers here, both Kayhanim. Reuven did ma'amar, which sort of designates her as his future wife. He has a brother on the wings, Shimon. They're both Kayhanim. Afilu hu Kayan, vi Kayanas. So he's a Kayan. She as well, the Yevamos is a Kayanas, meaning she's the daughter of a Kayan. Pasla minat truma. She may not have truma going forward. Why? Leman, whose shita are we following? Ilem el Rabbi Meir. Let's go back to the Mishnah, where a Kohen Gadol was Mekadesh and Almana. So she's anticipating marriage and living with the Kohen Gadol. Rabbi Meir says, look, you mishtameres l'biya psula, you're awaiting in an appropriate interaction, stop eating the truma. Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Shimon say no. It's not over till it's over. Don't incriminate her at this premature state. In the meantime, she can have her truma. Now, we have a Yevamos, awaiting Yibum. So far, so good. They're both Kohanim, perfectly fine. One did Mamar, so far, so good. Problem is, when he does Mamar, so at least Midrabanan, she's meant for him. She should not go to the other brother now, right? And somehow this affects her truma eating privileges. Why? How does that happen? Leman, whose shita are we following? Rabbi Meir, following Rabbi Meir's shita in the Mishnah there. Ema de Amar Rabbi Meir. Mishtameres labi psula le'achla. Yeah, when does Rabbi Meir say that an isha has to stop eating truma because she's waiting, she's anticipating marriage with this fellow? Midaraisa was speaking that he's a Kohen Gadol, she's an almana. They may not interact. So anticipating that relationship is a problem. That makes her a puzzle. We treat her as though she's already interacting. But in this case, what happened here? Everything was legal, everything was fine. Reuven did mamar. The only downside is that by his mamar, he disqualifies his brother. He takes him off the table. You may not engage with her anymore. This is midrabana. We treat mamar as though it's biyah. She's designated for Reuven, and she may not go to Shimon. But technically, she's still zakuk to everybody. She's still bound. She's still an equal Yevamos to all brothers. So we treat it as though she's awaiting. She's slated, so to speak, for a bia psul, because potentially she can interact with Shimon too, right? He's also her yavam, and in that case it would be an isser. So we treat it as though she's awaiting a bia psula, because she has that potential. But there's no connection, says the Gemara. It's only the Rabbanan. The whole concept that Mamar disqualifies the brother is only the Rabbanan. Mi Amar, how do you know Rabbi Meir would apply the same malach in this case? That doesn't work. Ve'elo Reb Shimon. Oh, so according to the other shittas in the Mishnah there, an almana is awaiting marriage with a kohen gadol, a grusha with a kohen hedid. They say it's okay. But over here, it won't work. By the Yevamos with the mamar, how can that be? If anything, it's the other way around. Hashta mishtameres l'bia psula d'iraisa achla. Even in the case where she's awaiting a bia psula minat Torah, she may continue having a truma d'rabbanan mi'boyer. It goes without saying that if it's only a d'rabbanan, it wouldn't affect her. So that doesn't work. Eloki also Ravin Amar, when he came, perhaps he quoted Rabbi Yehuda, he revised the halacha. Amar, he says like this: of course, if there's only mamar done, no problem. Gesundheit, Yevamos, you can have your truma. On the other hand, yesh lo ach chalal divra kol eino echeles. Suppose one yavam did the mamar, and the other brother Shimon happens to be a chalal. He was born through an inappropriate relationship, gadol with almana, whatever it is. In this case, all agree. All Tanaim would agree that the Yevama has to stop eating truma. It's only the Mishnah that Rabbi Lezer and Shimon say you can continue having your truma. You know why? Because the kohen gadol, who the almana is awaiting, the kohen hedyet, who the grusha is anticipating, that fellow on his own, there's nothing inherently deficient with him. He can feed his wife truma if he's married appropriately, right? That's the story we had the other day. In a different type of situation, he has the ability to feed. So that's why they say, look, even in this case, when actually she's not meant to interact with him, but it's only a condition, she can have truma. But in this case, where the other yavam, the other brother is a chalal never has the ability to feed his wife truma. So all agree that since she's potentially slated for him, right? All agree she has to stop eating her truma. So these two shilas, these two situations are not up for discussion. If there's only mamar done, and both of them are perfect kohanim, she can eat truma. On the other hand, if there's one brother who's a puzzle, she has to stop eating truma. The question is only in the following case. Suppose Reuven, right? We have Reuven and Shimon, two brothers. Reuven gave the Yevama a get. And what happens through a get? We discussed this many times. And the Rabbanan, a get is like synonymous to chalitza, and therefore he shouldn't be doing yibum. That's Isra the Rabbanan. So this, in this situation, we have a machlekes. Rabbi Yehuda Amar Echeles. She can continue eating her truma. Rish Lakish Amar Eino Echeles. She has to stop. Rabbi Yehuda Amar Echeles. She can eat. Even Rabbi Meir. Who holds that in the Mishnah? In the case of the Mishnah, where it's an almana waiting for the kohen gadol, etc., she has to stop eating. That's only when the future marriage entails an issa deraisa. Aval derabanan achal. But over here, if her potential interaction with this yavam who gave her a get is only issa derabanan, that doesn't disqualify her. So all agree she can have her truma. She doesn't lose any truma eating privileges. For Rish Lakish Amar, he says just the opposite. In this case of a get, she cannot have truma. Even according to the shita that allows an almana who's awaiting marriage with a kohen gadol to eat. That's only the yeshel lahachal makam achar, because that kohen gadol, as we explained, has the ability on his own. He has the ability to feed people. If only he marries somebody he's meant to. So therefore, even if he's engaged to this almana, she can have his truma. Aval hach, but in this case, well, the yavam gave a get. Kivan de ein loy lahachal makam achar. You never have a person giving a get and feeding that wife, right? It doesn't work. So we don't find that this type of scenario enables achilas truma. loy. Therefore, in this case as well, she has to stop her truma. So since she's awaiting, so to speak, she's slated for avera. Right? She's still bound to him. She's still zakuk to him. She can't have truma. Perhaps you'll argue this point. You'll say, hachanami yesh le'achila. We can find a case where even by issuing a get, the kohen's wife can still have truma. You know how? B'chayzeres. Suppose her father was a kohen, and now her husband, the kohen, gives her a get. She goes back home, and she regains her achilas truma privileges from her home, from her father. So you see that a get can sometimes enable achilas truma. So why are you saying otherwise? It says, well, what do you mean? How do you compare the two things? Chayzeres, in that case, when she's returning home, paska minei. She's been detached from her husband, and she's sort of getting reattaching to her, her parents, to her father's home. Beinash is the woman's home, meaning her old home. So of course it works. Get detaches and sends her back home. But here, she's going north. She's going the other way. She's trying to get closer to him. She's trying to eat truma on account of him. He's the kohen feeding her truma. Right? Not only that, she's going in his direction. She's agida bay. She's bound to him. She's zakuk to him. She's not going home yet. Sure, a kohen who wishes to get his wife and sends her home, she's back home. She could have her truma with her family. But here, she's not heading home yet. She's heading in his direction. Right? She's trying to get close. She's a Yevamos. She's bound to him. She's zakuk to him. So in this case, the fact that he gave her a get disqualifies her. Because on the one hand, she's heading in his direction, which is a forbidden direction. And therefore all agree she can't have truma. Okay, let's do a quick chazar. So we had, this is the header, an isha who's mishtameres l'bia psula. It's the topic of our discussion. She's anticipating, she's awaiting marriage or interaction, which is not recommended, which is pasul. Almana awaiting the kohen gadol, a grusha awaiting the kohen hedid. We have three possible scenarios. There was kedushin done. That's the case in the Mishnah. Meir says, stop eating truma. Or Rabbi Shimon say, you can have your truma, because it's still pre-marriage. What happens if there was chuppah done? Do we treat it as marriage? Rav says, you have to stop eating truma. We treat chuppah as marriage, even when it's an inappropriate chuppah. Shmuel says, chuppah in this case is worthless. You can have your truma. It doesn't make her like a chalala. It doesn't disqualify her. What if she's a shemeres yavam? That's the last topic we just discussed. And the yavam is a kohen. Two brothers, one did mamar. She can continue eating. If the other one is a chalal, she has to stop eating. If there was a get issue to the Yevamos, Rabbi Yehuda says, go ahead and have your truma. And this is according to all shittas, because it's only Rabbanan. Whereas Rish Lakish says, what do you mean? Once you give a get, that's it. She's awaiting bia psula. In this case, all shittas would agree. A get is nothing that creates achilas truma, and therefore she's pasul from truma regardless. All the best to you, and hatzlacha rabbah.